Hi. Well, this is a really different video from what you're used to because I want to speak to you person to person so you can understand me. And I want to tell you the story of what happened to Kira, what happened, how she is right now, and her process. I can talk about this now without as much pain since it's been 2 months. It has been quite a traumatic moment, so to speak, for our lives, and it has brought a huge change in her life. Also, as you already know, Kira is a very energetic dog, very active, very playful with the ball, and she always has been and always will be. That will never change. Everything started on the morning of September 21st, very early, when my parents were alone. With Kira, as you know, she is obsessed with the ball and needs to play to burn off energy. She was playing fetch with the ball, and she brings it back to you, and you throw it again, and she brings it back, and you throw it again. As I've shown you before, and as many of you know, unfortunately, Kira, during one of her desperate ball runs, tried to bring it back. She had an accident, and it's not the kind of accident where you fall somewhere or twist yourself and get hurt. It's not that kind of accident. The accident, unfortunately, was much worse than a fall or a stumble on a leg or anything like that. It was an accident involving the spinal cord. As some of you may know and others may not, between the vertebrae, there is a kind of cushion, like a pad, that protects the vertebrae from rubbing against each other. Because when you walk or when a dog walks and moves, the vertebrae are constantly moving and bending, shrinking, and making these kinds of movements. So, what prevents one vertebra from wearing down against another is a kind of cushion called an intervertebral disc. Well, during one of those runs, one of the intervertebral discs that keeps the vertebrae from wearing down decided to burst. Literally, it burst because the spine flexed too much while running. If there were a space here with an intervertebral disc, this would be one vertebra and this another. Literally, Kira's spine did this, so if one of those discs burst, it damaged Kira's spinal cord, resulting in her not being able to move her hind legs. Honestly, it caught us off guard and by surprise because Kira tried to get up or made the gesture of getting up, but she couldn't because literally no information was reaching her legs. I woke up running. Literally, I woke up as if I were in the army. Honestly, when I got there, my reaction was to break down crying when I saw her on the floor, unable to get up and not really knowing what was happening to her. Like I said, until then, we didn't know what happened to her. We only knew she couldn't move her back legs. I tried to help her the best way I could, lifting her by the waist of her back legs since she wasn't able to move them, trying to help her stand up so she could move to a place that was really safer than the field back there. Once we were at the door of the house with Kira in that condition, and given how nervous we were and how we were feeling emotionally, we decided to urgently take her to the vet. But as you already know, there's a slope that goes from the house to the green gate. We put the dog in the car and we're getting ready to leave the house with Kira in the car. And with the car literally already going out the door, about to close the gate to head straight to the vet, the car decided that it wasn't enough. A better time to stay here? The car stopped working right at the door of the house before taking her to the vet. So we found ourselves with the dog in that condition, with our nerves, with the uncertainty of not knowing what was wrong with her. We couldn't take her to the vet since we didn't have another car. Taking a pause and a brief summary, up to that point we had the dog who couldn't walk, we couldn't take her to the vet, and we were very nervous and very confused. Early that morning, all I could think to do was call a friend and say, "Please come to my house as soon as possible. This isn't a joke, I need your help." My friend answered the phone half asleep, unaware of what was happening. I kept begging him, "Please come to my house. This isn't a joke. I need your help. Come now." He agreed urgently, like he was an ambulance, and showed up at my house in less than 5 minutes. We put her in the car and rushed her to the nearest veterinarian. Once we were there, we did a quick series of tests to assess the damage. And like I told you before, if something could go wrong, it was going to go wrong. In that series of tests they determined that Kira couldn't feel her back legs, which was very bad news, since she couldn't feel her back legs or had any deep sensitivity, which is when they pinch between your toes to see if you feel it or not. In a dog, it's considered very dangerous if that doesn't happen, if the dog doesn't react when you touch its paw pad. And that was just the beginning of the bad news because they didn't have the tools to run the tests and determine if the damage was too severe or not. So the same veterinarian sent us to another vet, much more qualified and much bigger, so to speak. It was like a hospital. The problem was the hospital was an hour and a half away, as we live in a small town and had to go to a clinic in Santiago de Compostela, which is far from where we are now. My friend agreed to take us without any cost, without any inconvenience or anything at all. He just put Akira in the car and left without thinking twice. And from here, I want to personally thank them for making things easier for me and for helping my dog at that time. We arrived at the canine hospital, so to speak, and they were already waiting for us. Because the previous clinic had called ahead to inform them we were coming and it was urgent. Upon arrival, they opened the doors and brought a stretcher for Akira. They quickly put her on it and rushed her in to stabilize her due to a high fever. She had a fever and was anxious because she didn't know what was wrong. We waited in the waiting room for quite a while until the dog was stabilized, especially since the hospital was about an hour and a half away. Akira had to stay there for an indefinite period of time since they couldn't run the test that same day. So, for Akira's sake, we agreed that she should stay there for an indefinite period until they could stabilize her, help her, and run the necessary tests to determine what was wrong with her. I knew that Akira would be in good hands and that she wouldn't lack anything. After all, they are very professional and that's what they do. I didn't know how my mind would react since I had never spent so long here without Akira at home. The house felt huge to me and everything was silent and we were all very sad, but the vet would call us every day to give us news about Akira, whether she had eaten, if she had done her business, or how things were going regarding what was happening to her. They managed to run the tests on me, and the test determined that I had a hematoma in my spinal cord, which basically means bleeding in the spinal cord. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a bruise, a mark that appears on your skin, but in the spinal cord it's much worse. The intervertebral disc I explained to you before, which is what goes between the vertebrae, burst and hit the spinal cord. In other words, it literally struck the spinal cord. Where does all the information go? To the back part of Akira's legs? Since we couldn't see her and we didn't have a car, we had to stay at home waiting for the test results. And what was happening to him, to my brother? When he heard the news, right before taking a ferry to the Canary Islands, he changed his vacation plans and came here to consult her. He arrived that day with the car, so we quickly unloaded everything and headed to Santiago de Compostela to see Akira. Once we got there, they brought Akira to the consultation room, which was very hard for me to see her like that. She was in a state of, I don't know, in another world. She had a look. One side of her face looked sleepy, dazed, scared. I don't know how to explain it, but her face had changed a lot. Seeing her like that, I nearly cried again. After 4 days, it was a shock and a surprise for the whole family. The veterinarian told us we could take her home, but she needed a month of complete rest. She couldn't leave the house, couldn't get out of bed in a 2x2 meter padded space. If possible, it should be on a mattress and without much effort, because it could be much worse for her. We were scared, but since it was our first time in this situation, we decided to go through with it. We decided to put a mattress, make everything cushioned, with pillows, with her favorite toys so she wouldn't feel alone, and to stay downstairs as long as possible, never leaving her alone, even sleeping with her. Additionally, Kira couldn't control her urine and would relieve herself where she was due to loss of sensation below a certain point. Making things worse, her period started, complicating everything further. We took her out as best we could, trying to help her with a towel around her waist so she could move. At least go to the garden for some fresh air. I wanted to give her a bit of life, since she had spent so much time locked up at home and a long time locked up in a hospital with other dogs. We called the vet from the first clinic and she said physical therapy was urgent and starting sooner with the therapist would improve her recovery. This was contradictory, as one clinic advised rest while another recommended urgent physical therapy. So we were a bit in shock. We didn't know if it was really good for the dog or really bad for the dog. So, looking for dog physiotherapists, because yes, there are dog physiotherapists. I didn't know that. We found one, but it was half an hour away. We decided to go and try the first day to see what would happen. Upon arrival, we gave the physiotherapist the dog hospital papers, so she knew Kira's condition and how to manage the paperwork. These are what I have and I'll show you. What I have here is an x-ray of Kira's back, and what you see here is the injury. That's what keeps Kira from being able to move her legs. Once the physical therapist read the papers and understood Kira's back condition, she did what was best for Kira by trying to stimulate sensitivity in her hind legs. At first, when she pinched her, as I already told you, she couldn't feel them, but when she got to the physical therapist after quite some time, she could feel the pinching, and she had a slight movement reflex, but very, very, very slight, as I'm telling you. She couldn't walk, she couldn't move her legs, she wasn't able to do anything. But at least we knew she had feelings, she could feel her hind legs, which was very good news. At the dog hospital, they told us that the hematoma she had in her spinal cord could decrease over time, but it would take a lot of time. So what she did was therapy to sensitize her hind legs, which was great because with time and effort also at home helping her, she made incredible progress. I'm going to leave you here a little video, a short video of how the second day of therapy in the water pool went. Literally, it's a bathtub with a treadmill where you put the dog in, and it's easier for her to walk because she doesn't have as much weight on her body. As you can see, it looks like she's dragging her legs because she can't move them, but over time she got to this point. In this video, you can see how she's already able to move her legs or at least place the palm of her paw on the ground. What amazes me is how we've changed from that to this. Kira moves her little tail. I mean, literally, Kira can move her tail, which was really, really good news. Information was reaching her hind legs and she could move or walk. She could even stand for a few seconds, but it was like a tripod. She'd hold herself up and then fall. But with a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, and after many months of therapy, Kira has managed to walk again. She walks in a bit of a strange way, since she still has a spinal injury and can't bend her legs. But it's an incredible improvement because no one told us that Kira could walk again, which really took us by surprise. Walking, moving, and taking care of herself. It's something that Kira couldn't do before and that we didn't think Kira could do again, but yes, she can. For me, it's really incredible news. It's a case of overcoming, it's a case of effort and dedication toward an animal that I consider part of the family, since many people see a dog as just any animal or even as a toy, which is really wrong. For me, Kira is something more, she's pure love, I don't know how to explain it. I would give my life for her if needed, and I'm amazed that Kira still wants to play and go out after all that's happened. She still wants to go to therapy because she enjoys it and gets lots of treats. They care for her like family and spoil her. And I'm really making this video because I wanted to tell you and the people who follow me on Instagram what was happening to Kira. Many people saw my story about Kira, but it was deleted after 24 hours. I made this video to share Kira's big case of overcoming, of effort and dedication that we have put into this little puppy, and also to give ourselves a breath of fresh air. To those who told me my dog has the same thing, or my dog had an accident and the same thing happened to him, but over time he has learned to walk and get by. I just want to say, put in the effort and give your all for your dog because he gives you everything, even if you have nothing. And with this, I wanted to tell you that I'm going to upload content more often because I want to share with you and show you how Kira's process is going, because I can tell that you all are very worried too. And I just wanted you to be there with me and to be a kind of support so I can tell you and explain the case. The progress, as you've seen, is incredible. For me, it's truly a miracle to say that the dog was never going to walk again, and now I see her every morning. Eager to play, have the ball thrown again, and keep taking on the world. I also want to thank my friend who took me to the clinic and all of you. You have also been a kind of therapy, both for me and for my brother. The thousands of supportive messages you've sent us on Instagram, offering encouragement and strength, assuring us she'll recover and soon be running again. And that's really how it has been. We never lost faith, we never lost hope, and it has paid off. And that's how we have Kira.
Here. Here. Here, come here. Run, run, come, Kira, run.
With this, I say goodbye, and I wanted to tell you that I'll see you very soon. Kira's physical therapy progress and how her daily routine is going. So see you very soon.